I got to tell you, this is the best looking crowd I've had all day. We're going to get started by going through the rules and regulations of the sale. When you bid today, you are agreeing to the rules that are printed in the book in their entirety. You can take a look at them in detail if you want to. It says rules and regulations right there. We're going to go through the highlights, the things that are the most important that you should know before the sale so that everybody's aware of them. When you bid today, you are bound by the rules of sale, so please pay attention to them. When you bid today, you have to have a valid photo ID in order to register, and you have to be registered prior to placing a bid. You can't just stand up in the back of the room and shout out $1 million. We have to be able to know who you are first. Make sure you pay. These properties have been through a judicial foreclosure process. One of the most common questions we're asked is, can somebody just slide back in here and pay the taxes and get it back? And no, they can't. It's not anywhere near that simple. They would have to take it to court and get the whole process overturned, and that's mighty difficult to do. This property has been through a judicial foreclosure process. There's been all kinds of notice sent. Each property has been visited numerous times before and since foreclosure. There have been hearings held at the treasurer's offices, hearings in court, certified mail has been sent, it's been published. Lots of effort has been made to contact the former owners of these properties. They had until April the 2nd to pay the taxes this year, or they lost all of their interest in the parcel. We've also been out to everything that didn't have somebody living in it and put one of those big fancy yellow signs right in the front yard. I don't know about you, but if I owned a piece of property and had one of those sitting out front, I'd know I had a little problem. We've gone and seen the judge. We asked the judge to give us a circuit court judgment in favor of the county treasurer, vesting the title in these lands in that office, and they have done so. Deeds, land contracts, construction liens, IRS and other tax liens, mortgages, and security agreements affecting these properties are all void. They've been cleared away. There's a circuit court judgment that says so. If anybody questions that, they can go talk to the judge. Condo and property owner association fees, the rights of heirs and estates, anything that existed at April the 2nd, if they didn't pay, they lost that interest. Certain things are not canceled by tax foreclosure. If you buy a piece of property and anything on this screen affected that property before the foreclosure, it still affects it now. Easements. If you buy a piece of property, and it would be a great piece of property if it didn't have a great big power line going across the middle of it, you can't tell them to move that. If there are easements across the property or easements to the property, those still remain. Mineral rights. If Cleveland Cliffs owns the property underneath that house, they still do. Nothing changes with severed mineral rights that are owned by third parties because of tax foreclosure. If it's a condominium, or if it's in a property owner or homeowners association that has deed restrictions, if it's subject to association fees or bylaws or rules of the neighborhood, those things are all still in place. Zoning, local building ordinances, and building codes are also still in effect. You can't buy something today, claim that you bought it from the government, therefore you're declaring it a sovereign nation not subject to their rule. That doesn't work anymore. I don't think we've got any crops. I won't get into that one today. Please know what you're buying. Everything that we're selling today is being sold by quitclaim deed. You're buying everything today as is, where is, with all of its faults and defects at the instant that the hammer comes down, even if it's on fire right now. You're buying everything as is, where is. What you're buying today is the legal description that's listed in the book that's in your hands. You're not buying an address. You're not buying a photograph. You're not buying what your brother-in-law told you is on the property or what you think is there. You're buying the legal description of land listed in the book that's in your hands. Everybody's got a copy of the book. Right there it says legal description. The area between that and comments, that's what you're buying today. Nothing else is guaranteed. These properties can have a whole lot of issues. You can buy something that looks good from the outside, and when you get inside, it can be a mess. Many of them are. That's why many of them are here today. Most of the property that we're selling today has been abandoned. You can run into lead-based paint in any building constructed before the middle 1980s. Asbestos, infestation, frozen plumbing, bad foundations, septic systems that may not even be there or in workable condition anymore. That one you see on the screen right there, that piece of property is not far from here. That's over in Ontonagon County in Bruce Crossing. It's right behind Mr. Usamaki's place. That piece of property, I've been doing this a long time. That piece of property in your screen right now is the only one I've ever seen that has every problem on that list. And I've sold it 3 times because people aren't paying attention to what they're buying. That place is a mess. We tried selling it last year, couldn't get rid of it. I'm disappointed to tell you it is not on the list this year. But if you go right up the road to Mass City, I've got that one. We're selling it tomorrow. Come on to Waters Meet and pick it up. Make sure you know what you're bidding on. You're buying the legal description of land listed in that book, and that's all you're buying. There are no refunds. This ain't Walmart. You can't bring it back. When we sell today, everybody's got a copy of the sale book. I've got 5 pieces of land that have an awful lot of interest. We're going to sell those 5 pieces first. That's probably going to clear out half of this room. There's no sense in having something at the end of the book that everybody's waiting on. We're going to move the popular pieces to the front. I'll tell you what those are in a minute. Once we've sold those 5 pieces, we're going to go back to the beginning of the book. We're going to sell them in the order that they're listed. We're going to skip the pieces that nobody wants. We were in Muskegon the other day. We were skipping entire pages in that book because not a piece on that page anybody in the room wanted. If there's stuff here you don't want, we're going to go right on by them. It makes the sale go much quicker. When we open up the bidding, here's the mechanics, here's the nuts and bolts of exactly how this works. In your book, you're going to see a number that says minimum bid. Nothing will be sold for less than that today. When we open a piece of property up, we're going to start at that minimum bid, and that number is the back taxes and any costs that that property owes the county. Here's where that number comes from. Every piece of property gets a tax bill from a city or village or a township. When that tax goes unpaid, at a certain time, the county buys that account from the city or village or township so that they have their operating money. That piece of property owes the county that much. Sometimes there are additions, legal fees. We had a mobile home the other day down in Oceana County that had so many legal fees on it that the minimum bid was $56,000. Sold it too. If you believe that, $56,000 mobile home. But anyway, that's what that number is. That's what that piece of property owes the county, and that's what we're trying to get back is that amount. We're going to start the bidding right there unless I've got a higher bid already online. These parcels have been on our website for a while. They've been open to bids for several weeks now. I already have 124 bids online on the properties in this book today. If the property that you're looking at already has an online bid that's higher than the minimum bid, we'll start there. So we're going to start at one of those 2 numbers. Then we increase by the number you see on the screen. Until we get to $1,000, we go up at least $50 at a time in round numbers. $250, $300, $350, $400. Between $1,000 and $10,000, the minimum increase in round numbers is $100. Over $10,000, we go up at least $250 at a time. 10 and a half, 10, 750, 11,000, 11 and a quarter. No odd numbers, no lucky numbers, no combinations of birth dates, no favorite lotto numbers. We go in those round numbers. The people that are bidding online, people will be bidding online against you. People bidding online can only go up 1 increment at a time. We're working on fixing that, and I'll tell you why. We had a sale the other day down in Houghton Lake. We had a hotel property. We didn't think it would sell at all. We had 2 bidders for it. Started out and it went from the minimum bid to $350,000 in $250 increments. I sent everybody outside to smoke, including the people that don't. It took a long time, so we're working on that. But right now the people online can only go up 1 bid increment at a time. You, however, can do something called jumping the bid. Let's say that I've got a piece of property and everybody in the room seems to want it and it's at $300 and you want it really bad. Feel free to stand up and shout out $85,000. I'll bet it speeds things up a whole lot. That's called jumping the bid. You can do it here in the room. There will be properties. If I have an online bid that I can see on my sheet is pretty high, and I've got a whole bunch of people in the room that want it, like these first 5 pieces that we're going to sell, I may ask to jump the bid well beyond those amounts. We have properties sometimes that we go up $5,000 at a time because we know we're going to get somewhere. I already know what you're going to have to spend to buy it. We're just going to try to get there a little faster. This is important information if you are new to this procedure. How many of you have never been to one of these sales? You really are a little bit clueless. You're trying to stay out of trouble here. You don't want to get yourself into the ditch on this. This is something you want to avoid doing if you can help it. If you have any property in any of these counties with delinquent property taxes, I can't sell to you today. And it's illegal for you to even try buying them. If you have any other property in these counties with delinquent taxes, if you're getting a bill from the county treasurer instead of the city or village or township, you can't buy today. And if you try to buy anyway, we're going to find your bid and we're going to cancel it. The legislature has basically said, if you don't keep your taxes current, you can't be buying at the tax sale. It's a state law. There's a criminal penalty involved for trying that we'll get into in a little bit. So if you have any property in any of these counties with delinquent taxes, that includes things that you own in partnerships, things that you own as a business under some DBA kind of name or LLC kind of name. If you co-own property with other family members. The one that catches a lot of people is if you are a land baron and you buy and sell stuff all the time and you got a whole bunch of people buying stuff from you on land contracts and you hold the deed, if one of your land contract buyers is not current on their taxes, you can't bid today. It's the law. If you have a lot of property holdings, you're going to have to examine your memory banks and see if any of those holdings may have delinquent taxes. We are going to check. We have several kinds of bidders today. We have you guys bidding here in the room with your yellow card. You may see somebody later on today bidding with a blue card. That's not a frequent flyer club. What that means is they got here after the opening instruction. Some of our regulars want to skip this part because they've already heard it a few times. They'll show up at 12:45. They already know the rules. They don't want to sit there. They don't want to hear the same jokes again. So they're going to get here a little later. They might end up with a blue bid card. That means they missed the instruction. If they missed the part, if somebody buys something today and they got a blue card, I'm going to ask them if they have delinquent taxes because it's a very important rule that they need to know. But we have you guys here in the room bidding with your yellow cards. We have people that have bid online. I've got 124 bids in front of me already. We have people that are bidding live against you online. This bidding closed at 11 o'clock today. That's when that closed. We have also people watching the auction right now in the front of the room. There's a tripod with a camera on it with a microphone. They can see and hear this auction on the internet all over the planet. We've got somebody bidding from Madrid, Spain today, trying to buy something back. But anyway, people are watching that camera. They can bid against you too. We also sometimes have paper absentee bids. I don't think we have any of those today. We don't see many of those anymore. Your bid today is a legally binding contract. Do not bid and then decide you don't want to pay. We had a guy the other day bid $135,000 on something and decided he didn't want it. It doesn't work like that. We do not reopen the bidding on demand. There are no tie bids. Any bid not received when we say sold is deemed as not even being offered. It's your job to make sure that your bid gets in. If you're here to bid on something today and it's very important to you that you get it, when it's time for that piece to be sold, if you're way back in the corner over there and you're tugging on your ear or winking at me, I don't know if there's a mosquito bothering you, whether you're asking me out on a date or whether you're trying to bid. If it's important to you that you buy that piece of property, you get right down front and center when that piece is being sold, or you get that card in the air. Make your presence known, your interest known. When we say that it's sold, it is. If you win today, you have to pay today. You have to pay in full today. We still get people coming up after the sale. They sat through this portion right here and they still come up and they say, well, I have to go to the bank and borrow the money and it's going to be a couple, no, it doesn't work either. You have to pay today in full. You should have come prepared to pay. The rules have not changed at these sales in years. If you can't pay today, please don't bid. There's no closing date. There's no amount of time you have to go get things arranged with borrowing the money or going to get this or that or the other thing lined up. You should have come prepared to pay today. If you're bidding online, you'll receive an email by the end of the day. If you don't get that email, check your spam filter or call the office. They're very helpful there. It'll give you a handy dandy little link that you just click on and take you right to a payment page. The first $1,000 you give us today needs to be in the form of certified funds. It's a non-refundable deposit. That's a $1,000 certified funds check for your combined purchases. You don't need one for each piece that you buy today. Over and above that first $1,000, we will take your personal or business check, money orders, cashier's checks, or your credit card. Visa, MasterCard, and Discover are the three that we take. We do not take American Express, and Diners Club just doesn't work here. So you give us a personal check and you give us a certified funds check for $1,000, and for some reason your personal check doesn't clear the bank, your $1,000 is history. It's a non-refundable deposit. It goes into the County Treasurer Christmas Party Fund. Thank you very much. We no longer accept cash. If you brought a big bag full of cash with you, you're going to have to find some way, even if it's going down to Walmart, standing in line and getting a couple hundred, $500 money orders, you're going to have to find something other than cash to pay us with today. We no longer take it. We've had people lose large amounts of money at sales. We've had people give us money that wasn't real. So we just don't do that anymore. Bitcoin? No Bitcoin. Sorry. What are you going to pay if you win today? Here is how the math works. If you win today, we're going to have a final bid price that we agree on here in the room. There are three things that you're going to add to that bid price. If you're doing math in your seat and you want to know exactly what you're going to pay when you check out, here's how the math works. The final bid price, add to that 10% of that number. Add to that $30 for a deed recording fee. Your deed to the property is going to be recorded with the Register of Deeds office before you get it back in the mail. We'll make sure that the record is official, that your name is on it. At the end of each property description, you're going to see a number that says summer tax due. The law requires the tax sale purchaser to pay that within a very short period of time. So we're just going to preempt that entire process and collect it from you today. We're going to collect your summer taxes today. We're going to pay those to the city, village, or township on your behalf. All of the taxes on this property will be current when you leave here today. So that's what you're paying. The final bid price, 10%, $30, and the summer tax bill. If you're using a credit card today, they charge us 2.75% in addition as a fee, a convenience fee for using the card. We do pass that fee along to you only on the portion that you charge on that credit card. If you need to leave the building before you can pay, you have to run across town and get a certified funds check. You have to go to Rapid River and get some money from your grandma. Let the clerks know what your bidder number is, give them your cell phone number, and tell them how long it's going to take for you to come back. After this sale's done today, we have to drive to Watersmeet. We don't want to wait around until 9 o'clock tonight waiting for somebody to get back to pay for something. You should have come prepared to pay. You should be able to be paid up within about half an hour of the time that we sell the last property. I'm going to guess that we're going to be done today by 3 o'clock. It shouldn't be any later than that. That's just a hunch. It may be sooner than that even. If you haven't already done so online, on the website, we give you the opportunity to put in the names and addresses of the people you want listed on the deed to the property that you buy today. If you have not already done that, you have to fill out the form in the back of the book. It says deed information on the top. You're going to give us the names and addresses of the parties that you want listed on the deed to the property that you buy today. Here's a couple points when you're filling that form out. First of all, use the full legal names of the parties to be listed. Don't use nicknames. Write them down the way that they appear on driver's licenses and other legal documents. That's the name that's going to be listed on the official deed to the property. Second, if you're putting a name on there and it's somebody that's not here in the room with you, please make sure they don't have any delinquent taxes. If you put a name on that form and we find out they have delinquent taxes, you just had your sale canceled. You can't have your name listed on the deed to property you buy today. You can't have anything to do with anything sold today if you're a delinquent taxpayer. Please fill that form out before you get in line. It keeps things moving a whole lot quicker. If you are buying today with somebody else and you're not married to them, it's a business partner, a friend, a relative, you're going in together to buy a piece of property here today, you have to tell us, this is a legal term, it's called tenancy. You have to tell us the form of tenancy that you're taking title to as co-owners. Essentially, the short version is this. If you buy a piece of property with your cousin and one of you dies, what happens to that person's ownership of that property? Does it stay with their heirs or does it flow to the surviving owner? Let's say that you're buying a deer camp with your cousin. And if you die, you know that he would really like to have it and your wife don't want nothing to do with it. You can have it go to him automatically in the deed. Or you can have that property flow through to your heirs. You have to choose one. The clerks will ask you if you're buying property today in multiple owner names. Those options are listed in your book. Please take a look at them if you are buying something today with other people. When you leave today, we're not sending you home with the deed. We haven't even created it yet. Before you see the deed, it's going to be recorded at the courthouse. They'll take an image of it and put it in their permanent file and index it in their computers, and then they're going to mail it to you. What you're going to leave here with today is your receipt. It's our contract, it's our agreement that you're purchasing the property from the county treasurer. They're going to ask you to initial that receipt in several places, acknowledging several things. I'm going to let you know what those are now so you don't have to read it all the way through back there at the table. You'll want to glance at it, but there's nothing in there that I'm not really telling you right now. First of all, they're going to print this out and they're going to give it to you and ask you to take a really good look at it. Check the spelling of your name, your address, the 4-digit number that's in the sale book, the lot number, make sure that's the right one, or otherwise you'll be getting a deed to the wrong property and you don't want that in some of these cases. Make sure that the math is correct. Make sure everything on that receipt that's not a boilerplate part of it is correct. If it's wrong on the receipt, it's going to be wrong on your deed, and then we're going to have to redo it. Let's not go backward when we should be going forward with things. Please triple check everything before you initial it in that spot. You're going to be agreeing to the terms of the sale, the things that we're talking about right now, the rules and regulations. You're accepting that you're bound by them. You are agreeing that you've had the opportunity, even if you didn't do it, that you have had the opportunity to go out and drive by everything that we're selling today and do your own research. Nobody forced you to buy anything today. And you're agreeing that everything sold today, you're buying as is in every respect. If the plumbing's frozen, if the roof's leak, it's yours. Merry Christmas. Here's an important one. We're going to be selling stuff today that's got buildings on it that are vacant. We're going to be selling vacant land. We should tell you, and the law says this very specifically, from the time that we sell you the property today until that deed is delivered to your mailbox, which is going to be about 6 weeks, you are not the owner of the property. You're the buyer. The transaction's complete when you have the deed. And until the instant that it's in your hand, you are not yet the owner, and the sale is subject to cancellation if we need to. We sell property for almost 70 counties in the state of Michigan. Every year, once in a great while, maybe every second or third year, we might have to cancel one sale. We might find out after we sold something that somebody filed bankruptcy in New Mexico 2 years ago and never told us. We didn't know anything about it. We can't sell property protected by the courts. We can't sell property that's under a conservator or guardianship arrangement if it preceded the foreclosure date, or actually even a date even earlier than that. If there was a legal reason we were prohibited from selling the property, your sale could be canceled, and what you'll get back is what you paid today, not a penny more. Please pay attention. Until you have the deed in your hands, you're not the owner. You're not authorized to make any major changes or improvements to the property. If we have to issue you a refund, what you get back is what you paid today, and that's all you get paid. Because we've been doing this a long time, we know how this works. We should tell you that you do not have possession of the property until you have the deed, that you can't enter upon it, and you should not make any improvements to it. We could tell you that. I could sit here for half an hour and repeat it over and over and have you sign back there and give me a blood oath, and I know from experience that you're going to be in there by 4 o'clock today anyway. because that's how this works. You paid for it today, it's just sitting there empty and you just can't stand it. You want to go over there and start working on it. Two things to keep in mind. If you make any improvements to the property, it's at your own risk. If your sale's canceled, you don't get the money back. Second of all, you're agreeing today, we're giving you possession of the property today for the specific purposes of security, inspection, and maintenance. We're not authorizing you to begin making any kind of repairs or improvements. We're giving you access today so that you have possession and control over what you bought if it is unoccupied and vacant. It's on you to assume liability, and you're releasing the county as part of your agreement today for injury, loss, or damage. If there's a building out there, you go in today, you're going to change the locks, you go inside, this side you're going to bounce up and down on the floors a little bit to see how sturdy it is, and you end up in the basement with a broken back, that's on you. You've assumed that liability. If you leave your tools out there and somebody breaks in this weekend and takes them, don't call us asking for a replacement, it's on you. Possession today, inspection, security, and maintenance, you assume all responsibility and obligation for injury, loss, or damage between now and the time that you get the deed. If your sale's canceled, you get back what you paid today and only what you paid today. I touched on this a little earlier. I want to make sure to reiterate this. You cannot buy property here today. You can't write the check that pays for it. You can't be listed on the deed. You can't have your fingerprints anywhere on this process if you have any other property with delinquent taxes. If you do, your sale will be canceled. The final part of your checkout process is what's called a sworn statement. The clerks in the back of the room are notary publics. They're going to ask you to essentially take an oath that you don't have any delinquent taxes. If you make that statement in front of a notary public and it's witnessed, and you had a little memory lapse and forgot about the 20 rental properties that you have with delinquent taxes, you have just committed a criminal act in the state of Michigan that's called perjury. Perjury in Michigan is a felony. Your sale will be canceled. Your file is going to get sent upstairs to the prosecutor's office with a potential perjury felony charge attached. The legislature is serious about this. If you have delinquent taxes on other properties, you are not allowed to have anything to do with the sale today. I don't know how I can make that much more clear. This, you had a question.
Summer taxes are due till September 15th, right? So that's good if you haven't paid those yet.
Yes.
Okay, good.
And those are not even delinquent.
Right.
If you're getting a tax bill from the county, you have a delinquent tax. If you're getting them from a city, village, or township, you should be in good shape. If it's last winter's tax, I don't know, are those delinquent already? But they're delinquent at the local unit. If your taxes aren't, if you got anything that's behind at all, you can't be bidding here today. And we're going to be checking. This is homework. You don't have to give us this form today, but we're giving it to you to keep you so you don't have to go track one down. This is the Michigan Property Transfer Affidavit. When you go and buy a piece of property through a real estate broker, most of you have been through that process in that closing room. They just keep sliding stuff in front of you and you don't even know what the hell it is, but you sign it just to get it done. This is one of those forms. This is your obligation to submit this to the city, village, or township assessor. What you're doing is you're saying, hey, this piece of property has a new owner. It's time for you to go reassess the taxes. You're going to give them your name and address, the parcel identification number. You're going to give them the name of the county treasurer that you bought it from today. You're going to give them the sale price, the day that you bought it, and other identifying information on there. You're going to sign it at the bottom and send it in within 45 days to the city, village, or township where that piece of property is located. There's a whole bunch of check boxes on there. None of those apply. Some of them look like they might, they don't. We've already been through all of them. If you don't send this in within 45 days, they can fine you up to $200. Title insurance, do you have to have it? You do not have to have a policy of title insurance to buy a piece of property in Michigan. You probably don't need or want one if it's a low value property, if it's something you're buying for your own recreation, it's something you plan on using and keeping for a while. Those pieces of property, you might find the title insurance costs more than the property did in some instances. If you're buying something today that you plan on reselling or refinancing, you're going to have title insurance at some point. This is not a run-of-the-mill process because it is tax foreclosed. The last owner of this property did not give us a deed before we sold it to you. It was taken. That makes the title insurance people nervous. Some local title insurance agents will write policies on these without any big deal at all. Other ones might give you this big list of things that they want you to do. They want you to go get an attorney and file a quiet title action. They want you to go find all the former owners and get deeds from everybody. You don't need to go through that. If your local title insurance agent will not write a policy on this fairly simply, there are people that will, and I'll give you a few numbers now if you want to write those down or take a picture of it, or even go to our website, they're listed there. First American Title in Detroit has an office that very specifically deals with tax reverted property. That's a phone number for them. TaxTitleServices.com in California writes and they review the foreclosure file. They will then insure the title insurance company. They will write a policy to them guaranteeing that tax foreclosure is good. Vets Title down in Grand Rapids is a resource. The Devon Title Company has offices in the Lower Peninsula. There's a new player this year, the SNP Title Agency. They're down in Indian River, just below the bridge. They've told us that they'll write title insurance on property, tax reverted property, statewide. Several of these companies have access to our tax foreclosure records online. They can go right in and look at the foreclosure file, make sure they're happy with it, and get you a title insurance policy fairly, efficiently, and very reasonably priced. Peninsula Title over here in the Western Upper Peninsula. They also write title insurance on tax reverted property. This is a very important date for you. Many of you have indicated that you're kind of brand new to this. You're here because there's a piece of property. You saw a sign on it. You heard it was up for sale. You're here interested in it. And if you get the right deal, you're going to buy it. You're a little concerned there's something nagging you in the back of your mind about what if. What if I hear from the former owner of this property? What if somebody shows up and says they have a lien against it or something? It all is going to come right back to that date. That is the date that the county treasurer became the owner of this property. There is a court judgment on file that wipes everything else out. If somebody shows up and says they bought it from somebody in February on a land contract and they gave the guy $5,000, well, they were not very smart because they should have done a title search and made sure that the taxes were paid up. Anybody that if somebody bought that property on April the 2nd, their money was no good. It's gone. Any interest in these properties before that date is history. It's gone. If somebody shows up and says they did some work on a property and the guy didn't pay them and now they want to put a lien on it, they can't do that. Anything from before that date is history. Keep that date in your mind in case you hear from anybody about anything. This is also the effective date of your purchase. You're buying something in August. Your liability for things against that property begins on April the 3rd. Everything that we are aware of right now is included in that minimum bid. If there's something that isn't, it's going to likely be very small. A homeowner or condo association fee. I don't think we've even got anything like that today that has any of those fees. If you're in a city or village that has water service, even if the water is turned off, the meter is off, the meter might even be gone. Many times they'll charge you $5 or $10 a month just for being connected to their system. If there's a liability like that, you inherit it as of April the 3rd, but nothing is on your plate from any time before that date. One that you may run into, if you are looking at something today and it's got municipal water and sewer service, please write this down. People call, they don't write it down, and they end up calling us 3 weeks later asking what it was. If you're buying something today and it's got a water meter in it, that number at the top of your screen is a Michigan Attorney General opinion number. Here's the scenario. You buy a house today in Manistee and you're going over there because you want to get it all cleaned up, and you go to turn the water on and somebody at the water department says, well, you know, those pipes froze last winter and that water ran till we shut it off, and there's an $8,000 water bill over there, and unless you pay it, we're not turning it back on. Your answer is, sorry, pal, April the 3rd, not my bill. And it doesn't just have to be your word. The Michigan Attorney General agrees with you. Municipal charges, things like water and sewer bills, are treated like every other lien. It might as well be some contractor lien or some other thing from before April the 3rd. It's gone. The Michigan Attorney General says so. Further, the statement is that they cannot require you to pay somebody else's old bill to get it turned back on. That's not legal because that charge no longer is a lien against the property that you're buying today. It's a debt of the person that used the water, that had the account. They can take them to small claims court. They can go get a garnishment against them. It no longer affects the property that you're buying today. Michigan Attorney General Opinion 7258 is what you want to write down. You can Google that. You can research it at home later on and print it out. And if you call the water department to get it turned on and they want to argue with you about it, you print that out, you take it down there and you lay it on the counter, and you're going to get your water turned on without having to pay somebody's great big old bill. Possession, we talked about it already. We're giving you possession today on any unoccupied property. Inspection, security, and maintenance only. We are selling property today that still has people in it. That's called occupied property. They are not squatters. They were there when you bought it. They're technically legally known as occupants. You have a couple of things you can do in those situations. You can negotiate something, you can let them stay, you can charge them rent, you can evict them, you can give them a few $100s, and oftentimes they'll move out. If you do the cash for keys thing, don't give them the money until they're gone. They might decide to stay and take your money and go to the casino for the weekend. They might take the water heater and the furnace with them when they go. Give them the money after they're packed up, sitting in the driveway, and you can do a little walk through the house. In most instances, the people that are occupants of this property know the sale's happening. There are some here in the room today, or they've sent somebody on their behalf trying to buy something back. In most instances, they know this is happening. They've kind of accepted the fact that they've lost the property. If they have to, they'll just move along. You might run into a situation, though, where somebody in a piece of property does not recognize the right of the government to tax it at all. They might meet your approach with hostility or aggression. There could be physical danger for you involved. You could run into an occupant of a property that is not stable. Here's my advice to you. If you're buying something today and there's somebody in it, many times you might already know that story. You might be a neighbor or a friend and helping them out, trying to buy their property back from them. If you buy something today and it appears there's somebody on, there's cars that come and go, the utilities are still on, my advice to you is go talk to a neighbor. Every neighborhood has somebody in it who makes it their personal life obligation to know the business of everybody in every house around them. They're going to know where they work, who drives what car, what their name is. They probably got their cell phone number on speed dial. Go talk to the neighbors. Find out if the people that are there are renters or the former owner or friends or relatives, if they're approachable, if they're safe, or if they're a little off the rails. You don't want to be the guy that ends up getting physically tossed around because you approached the wrong house. Go find the neighbor, find out the situation, make the safe approach. Sometimes they can refer you to an intermediary, they can give you a phone number, they can at least give you a name so that you can research how to contact those people before you just walk up to the door and knock on it as a cold call. Every neighborhood's got somebody in it that knows who's in that piece of property. Every neighborhood has a Gladys Kravitz in it that's nosy and knows everybody else's business. And if you don't think that your neighborhood has one of those, I'll bet it's you. What you're buying today. We are selling you the legal description of property that's listed in the book that you have. You are buying whatever is physically attached to that property. You're buying buildings, driveways, septic tanks, furnaces, water heaters, the electrical service. You are not buying the water softener if it's owned by the Culligan man. We are not selling you today anything that's ever had wheels under it, anything that's ever been separately titled. We are not selling you automobiles, motorcycles, boats, RVs, clothing, appliances, furniture, inventory, papers, baby pictures. If you find something on a property and it's got value to somebody else, make the effort to get it back to them. You can't just keep something because it's there. They could take you to court, sue you for the value of it if you've disposed of it, if you sold it on Craigslist, if you bought the house and opened up the garage and found 2 brand new Harley Davidsons there. It is not Christmas. They're not yours. We don't own those things. We can't sell them. We have no authority to even give them to you. Make contact with the former owner. Give them an opportunity to come and get their stuff. Stay out of trouble. There's no amount of time you have to give to somebody. It's all situational. How much stuff is it? How far away are these people? Oftentimes they'll tell you, we've already taken what we want. Do whatever you want with it. If there's something there of value before you dispose of it, I would take pictures of it. You might want to take pictures even of the stuff you're throwing away. If you think there's some potential there to get yourself in trouble by disposing of personal property, please take photos of it before you do. That being said, we do not and cannot warrant the title to mobile, modular, manufactured housing units. We've got some of those in the sale today. We have before seen modular homes that appeared to be permanently installed on concrete block foundations removed, legally taken away. If the owner of the land was not the owner of that unit, and we oftentimes have no way to know for sure, if somebody else owned that unit, if somebody else had a security interest on it, and they had no notice, they had no interest in the land, they were not the landowner. They might have been a relative sitting there for free. They might have been renting a lot for a mobile home. There's not a judge in the world that won't let them take it because they were not part of the tax foreclosure. Please keep in mind that most of the time, these kinds of units will be left to the property. They're abandoned with the land. But if somebody shows up and says, hey, that's my modular home and I'm going to take it, make them show you an order from the court. You don't just have to let them haul it away. But we have seen many of these disappear over the years, especially where there's a finance company involved that did not have a mortgage on the land. Nobody sent them notice. There's not a judge on the planet that won't let them come and take their stuff. We're just about ready to get going. This is just like riding a teeter-totter. We're going to open up with either the minimum bid listed in your book or a higher bid if I have one online. Once we open up the bidding, I'm going to find 2 people in this room that want to ride that teeter-totter and go back and forth between 2 until I'm down to 1. I'll keep switching around the room until I have an empty spot on that teeter-totter, and then we're going to go over here and see if Carrie's got people that want to keep bidding online. Couple of tips if you're brand new at this. First of all, when you're done bidding today, you had your eye on something, you came down to the tax sale and you bought it and you left. And when you left, you didn't need that card anymore, so you just left it on your chair. You don't really want to do that. Somebody could pick that card up and have a wild time this afternoon. If you've got a cell phone, please put it on silent or vibrate. If you have a baby with you, how many ladies brought their husbands with them today just so he could hold the card up when you gave him permission? If he exceeds the authority that you've given him and you want to correct him, please take it outside. We need to be able to hear. If you make a mistake, you bid on the wrong piece of property, you misunderstood the amount of your bid, stop me right then. Don't wait till the sale is over to be asked to be let out of a purchase. If you bid on the wrong piece, acknowledge it right away, hand up, oh, I screwed up, I bid on the wrong piece, I wanted the next one. I can still sell that property while the other bidder's here. Don't wait till the sale's over. Be considerate of everybody else, and we will be considerate of you. And finally, when we say it's sold, it is. We do not reopen the bidding. If you are interested in a piece of property, it's your obligation to make sure your bid gets through. Don't wait till the last second to bid for the first time. We don't reopen the bidding. Use that card, get it up in the air loud and proud. I am not an auctioneer. I do not do the yabba dabba doo. I'm going to be pointing at the high bidder and saying, going once, going twice, sold. If you want to bid on something, don't wait till I have this coming out of my mouth to get the card up for the first time, because once I say sold, it is. When I say going once, if you want to bid on something, you should be doing so. If I say going twice and I haven't seen you, it's up to you to get my attention. Shout at me, wave that card, do whatever you need to do. If you're really nervous about it, when your piece is coming up for sale, Come right down front and find a chair. We'll find one for you. We want to make sure that you get your bid in. Anybody have a question before we get going? It's going to be pretty simple how this all works after you've seen us sell a couple. It's very easy to get rid of money today. I've got 5 pieces. I've got 5 pieces of land that we're going to sell first, and that's going to clear out a whole bunch of chairs in here because everybody thought they could come in here and buy it for the minimum bid, and they're going to be all disappointed, and then they're going to go home. Those are, I'll go through the list a couple times. Number 210 is on Percy Road in Shingleton. It's a 5-acre piece with a newer single wide on it. I've got 15 bidders in the room for that one, and I got 16 online. Number 4312 is off County Road 510. This is a square 40. It's on top of a rock. I've got a lot of bidders here for that one. 4314, also in Marquette County, is on US 41. This is the piece that's up behind US 41 lumber there. It's a commercial piece. There's a dog grooming operation up in there. That's a popular one. We're going to sell that one early. Also 4305, which is a ranch home on the Escanaba River. This is out near Gwynn. That one has a lot of interest in it. We're going to move that one up in the ranking here as well. And also in Delta County, number 2002, which is the house on Rivers Road, out Gladstone Way, the gold-colored house, the tri-level. That's also a very popular piece today. I've got 20 bidders in the room for that piece. We're not going to make you wait till the end of the sale. We're going to move some of those right up to the beginning. So those numbers again, in Alger County, it's number 210. In Marquette, it's 4305, 4312, 4314. And in Delta, number 2002. We're going to sell those 5 pieces first, then go back to the beginning of the book and go through the book in the order they're listed, skipping the pieces nobody wants. Any other questions before we get going? It'll all be pretty obvious how it works after we've sold a few. We're going to start in Alger County with number 210. This is Percy Road. This is a single wide. There, you can't see it in the picture, but there's an addition off to the south side of this structure. There's a foundation for it, and it looks like maybe it had some kind of a frame construction room that's gone. I don't know if it caved in or they took it with them or aliens stole it or what happened. But this is on 5 acres. 5 acres. It's younger growth. It has been harvested. It has been timbered over in the past, not a long time ago. This one is kind of precariously sitting there. It's got some cribbing and blocks and stuff shoved under it as kind of a foundation. The skirting is not real complete. I would be firming this one up before I had any dance parties inside. Number 210, my minimum bid in that book says $450. You're not buying it today for $450. I've got 16 bids already online. I've got 15 bidders for this one here in the room. It's already at $5,400. I can see in my book how far my online bidders want to go. We got this little game. It makes this part of the auction go a whole lot quicker. I call it the card game. You've all got a card. I bet there's a whole bunch of people in this room that'll give me $5,500 for that property. If you're one of them, if you'll give me $5,500, you put your card up in the air right now, and you just keep it there until I say a number that you don't like. If everybody that's interested plays, this goes a whole lot quicker. I just see 2. It says I've got 15. Okay, I'm going to start. It goes quicker if everybody's interested, has their card up. $5,500, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. Are you still interested at 9? I've only got one back. This $8,000 is what I've got. I guess we're going to do it the old-fashioned slow way. Who wants to give me $8,500? I've got $8,000 in the back of the room. Anybody in the room at $8,100? I've got you at $8,000. I've got somebody online at $82, $83, $84. You've got it. 85. 8,500 in the room. I've got 84 online. Going once. Now I see the cards again. 85. You want to give me 9,000? It's going to cost you more than that to buy it. How about 9,500? 91. 91 online. 92. Anybody in the room at 9,200? I know they're out there. I've got $9,100 online. Going once. 92 online. Anybody in the room at 93? We're going to watch paint dry now. 93, 94, 95, they're going up $100 at a time online. This may take just a minute. One of these is an advanced bidder. The other one is a live bidder. I know how far the advanced bidder will go. If it gets to 100,000, I'm buying pizza. Because it will be dinner time by then. It's at $12,750, and they're not done. My advanced bidder has now hopped back online, watching on that camera. Both of the bidders right now are watching the auction on that camera. 14,000. And they're not done. This might take just a minute or two. I guess the other 15 people in the room all wanted to buy it for $450. It's at 15 and a quarter. $16,000. I'm at 16,000, and they're not done. Hurry up, you guys. They're both bidding pretty slow. Anybody in the room at 16.5? I'm at 16,250 online. Don't, no, they're not done. They can hear me. I'm at 16,750. I do know that the internet connection here is a little bit slow. That might slow down, but we're not going to wait all day for them. I'm at 16,750 online. Anybody in the room at 17,000? 16,750 going once, going twice. Sold that one online at 16,750. The backup bidder is online as well. The backup bidder, if we sell a piece of property to somebody in the room or online and they cannot or will not pay, we contact the backup bidder. We offer them that property for one bid increment below the final sale price. We just sold that for 16,750. If for some reason he can't pay, we contact the backup bidder. We offer it to them for 16,500, one bid increment below the final sale price. It is not negotiable. Next, we're going to go to Marquette County and sell number 4305. Actually, we're going to go to Delta and sell 2002. That's next in my book. 2002. This is on Rivers Road. We don't get a whole lot of properties that are this ready to move into. This has grandma's house written all over it. It's clean. It's well built. It's solid. There is a situation here. The former owners of this property are institutionalized. There's a lot of personal property in this building that is going to be removed. They're going to take it out and they're going to conduct a sale or an auction of some kind. My understanding is they're going to do it off premise. They're going to come and get the stuff and take it somewhere else. We're going to be withholding the possession of this property. We're going to call this, what's that?
It's going to be sold on site. It's not going to be removed before sale.
Okay, well, that being as it may, we are not going to be permitting possession of this property unless you're a representative of those former owners. You're not going to have possession of this property until the items have been sold or removed. So we just want to make that clear. We're calling this an occupied property at this time. It is not being considered as being vacant right now. So if you buy this one today, you don't get the early possession. You have to wait for the deed. The sales will be conducted and completed well before you get your deed, which is going to be about 6 weeks. So if you buy this one today and you don't have a former association with the owners of this property, you have to wait till you have the deed to take possession of the property, unless you've received clearance from the treasurer's office that they have completed what they're doing there and those items have been removed. So that's the specific rule for this property. That being said, number 2002, Rivers Road, very solid property. I almost missed that out behind this property, there's a side road, there's a garage to the west of this property, and next to that garage, there's a dirt trail that goes up behind, and there's actually another building back up in there, a concrete block building. It's all of those properties. So, 2002, I've got just a couple online bids. I've got 20 bidders here in the room after this one. $8,600 is the minimum bid that I see in my book. I'm already at $22,500 online. We're gonna play that card game again, and this time I'll bet it works a little better. If you'll give me $23,000 for that property, put your card in the air right now and keep it there until I say a number that you just won't pay. I see 3. There should be a whole lot more if I get 20 people that said they'd buy it. 23,000, 24,000, 25, 26, 27, 28. I'm going to start with you at 28,000. Anybody in the room want to give you 28.5, excuse me. Anybody in the room at 28.5? I know I've already got it online, but it's quicker if I sell it in the room. I've got 28,000 with you. Anybody in the room at 28.25? I've got 28.25 online. Yep. You want to give me 29? 29.25. They can only go up $250 at a time online. Yep. What about 30.25? Yep. 31. 32. I like your style. 32.25. Yep. 32.5. He said he's all done. I've got 32.250 with an online bidder. Anybody in the room at 32.5? 32.250 online, going once. Yep. Now we've got a live online bidder watching on that camera right there. Anybody here at 33,000? 32,750 online, going once. Yep. They're not done yet. The online bidding has been crazy this year. They've probably been buying half the stuff. Many times it is somebody local. They just didn't want to sit here. They can of beer at home at the desk, you know. I'm at 34.5 online. They've slowed down, but they're not done. 35,000 and still moving. $35,000. Anybody in the room at 35,250? 35,000 going once, twice. Yep. 35,250. You want back in at 35.5? 35.5 in the room. Now 35,750. Yep. Now 36. I've got 35,750 with an online bidder. Anybody here at 36,000? This one's ready to go. I got 35,750 online. Going once, going twice. Sold it online for 35,750. My backup bidder back there, what's your number? Number 168 is the backup bidder. A little warm in here, isn't it? Now to Marquette County. Number 4305. This one is in need of some cosmetic work more than anything else. Structurally, it seems to be strong. It needs a resurfacing. If my memory's right, a lot of the carpet and such was gone. It's out near Gwynn. It's got frontage on the Escanaba River that has not been developed very well. The backyard's real brushy, but the river back there is very, very nice. This is a quality river. Probably mid-century construction, ranch-style garage. It's on a crawl space. It basically just needs a freshening up. Looks like a pretty solid piece of property. They did have a lot of warning signs all over about not entering in. We're gonna, kidnap your grandma if you come on our property and that kind of stuff. It seems to be pretty old stuff. I don't think it's very recent at all. 4305 is where we're at. I've already got the opening bid of $8,500 online. Who in the room wants to give me $9,000 for that one? I got 9 back there. 95. What about 10? 10 and a half. 11. 11. I've got 10 and a half in front of you. Anybody in the room want to give me 11? What about online? 11 right there. 11 and a half. Now 12. 12 and a half. 12 and a half. Now 13. 13 and a half. Now 14. 13 and a half with you. 14 right behind you. You're going to give me 14 and a half? 14 and a quarter? Or is that the same bidder? I've got 14. I always get like 2 people sitting right next to each other trying to bid. It could be 8,000 people in the room. I got 14,000 with you. Anybody in the room want to give me 14,250? I've got 14,000 right back. Now 14,250. 14 and a half. 15. 15. 14,750. I've got 14,500 back there going once. 14,750. Now 15. 15 and a quarter. 15 and a half. 15,750. 16,000. Now 16 and a quarter. 16 and a half. 16,750. Now 17. You want to give me 17,500? 18. 18,500. 19. 19,500. $20,000. 19,750. That's as low as I can go. I bet you want it 19,500. Anybody in the room at 19,750? Anybody anywhere? 19,500 going once. 19,750. Now I get 2 of them bidding at the same time in the back. Now 20,000. Either one of you at 20 and a quarter. Anybody at 20 and a quarter? I've got 20,000 right down front. 20,000 going once. Twice. You bought it $20,000. What's the bidder number? 20,000, number 202. Who wants to be the backup bidder? You're all bidding at the same time. Anybody in back want to be the backup bidder? 310. $43.12 is next. It's a bumpy drive getting out to this one. It's off County Road 510. If you go more than about 40 miles an hour, you're living life dangerously. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. This is a square 40-acre piece. It does not front on a public road. It does not touch a road. We don't know if there's a legal easement to get into it or not. That nice picture of trees right there, if you look kind of in the middle of it, that's a piece of rock that goes straight uphill just about like that. Most of this property is way up high on top of a rock. I'm not sure how you'd get up there. Billy Goat territory, helicopter pad, something like that. $43.12 for this square 40-acre piece off County Road 510. Power is about 5 miles away. It's terrain challenged and it has no road frontage or access that we know of. No developed 2-track into it that we could find. I'm at $7,600 with an online bid already. Anybody in the room here want to give me $8,000 for this one? I got $8,000 right there. Anybody in the room want to give me $8,500? Anybody in the room at $81? I've got $8,000 back there. I've got $81 online. $82, $83, $84, $85, $86, $87. You want to go $9,000? $9,000. They can only go up $100 at a time online. $91. What about $10,000? 10 in the room. 10 and a quarter. You want to give me $11,000? What about 10 and a half? I've got 10 and a quarter online. Anybody in the room at $10,500? He's back at 10,500, 10,750. Now 11,000. You know, there could be gold on that property. I ain't lying. I've got 10,750 online. Going once. And the 11,000, we've got an advanced bid and now a live bidder bidding against them on that camera right there. They've got 2 live bidders and 1 advance, and this is off to the races. It's at 13,000. Where is it going to go? 2 live online bidders duking it out for the rock. We sold one of these a few years ago right there in Marquette going up the hill to the west. Yeah, I don't know what you could ever do with that piece, but I saw somebody finally took dynamite to it. That's what you kind of have to do sometimes. It's at 15,000, and they're still duking it out online, live on that camera right there. We will let you know where they end up, when they end up. 15,000 might be where it is. Anybody in the room at 15,250? You walk back in at 15,250? I've got 15,000 online going once, twice. Sold it online for $15,000. Backup bidder is also online. Now 43.14, and then we go back to the beginning of the book. These are the most popular pieces we got. Doesn't mean they're going to sell the highest, it means we had the most people looking at them. This one is up behind the US 41 lumber property. Originally built, I'm pretty much convinced that it used to be a self-storage unit, and actually still is. I don't know. Ann's not here. There were some of the units, some of the storage units still had people's stuff in them. So if you buy one of these today, if somebody has stuff stored in them, you probably need to make some effort to let them come and get their stuff. Minimum bid in that book says $13,500. I've got 5 bids online, and they've already got me at $46,750. And they're going to go higher. Anybody in the room want to give me 50,000 on this one? 50,000 right here. You going to give me 55? How about 60,000? 65,000? 70,000? 71? 72? 73? Oh, I like you. 75. I got cards all over the place. You know, I can see people kind of doing that. They're almost getting that nerve up to put it up in the air. Who wants to give me 80,000? 80. How about 82.5? What about 85? 87.5. 90. 90. 90. 92.5. 95,000. 97.5. $100,000. 102.5. 105. 107.5. 110. 112.5. 115. 120. 125. 130. 135. 140,000. 145. 150,000. 155. 155. 156. 157. 158. 159. 160. 161. 162. 163. 164. 165. 166. 167. 168. 169. 170,000. You're going to give me 172.5. 171. 172. 172.25. 172.5. 172,750. Don't look at him, look at me. It's always the death stare. Don't do good. 173. 173.25. 173.5. You gotta give me 175. 176. 177. 176.5. 177. 177.25. You owe 177 and a quarter, 177.5, 177.750, 178, 178 and a quarter, 178.5, 178.750, 179, 179 and a quarter, 179.5, 179.750, 180,000. You want to go to 181, 182, 183, 184, 185, 186, 187, 188, 187 and a half, 187.750, 188. I'm at 188. You done? 188 in or out? 188 and a quarter, 188.5, 188.750, 189, 2 million. Just kidding. I gotta try. 189, 189 and a quarter, 189 and a quarter. I've got 189 with the lady over here. 189 going once. 189 and a quarter, 189.5, 189.750, 189.750. I've got 189.5 with you. Going once. Twice. You bought it, 189.5. Aren't you glad we didn't do that $250 at a time? What's the bidder number on that one? 189.5, 309. My backup bidder. What's the backup bidder number? The backup bidder has lots of money. You can go borrow some from him now. So that's our most popular ones. That's probably going to empty out a few chairs. People coming in figuring they could pick that up for $13.5 and, you know, do whatever they're going to do. Put in a brand new whippy dip. Now we're going to go back to the beginning of the book. If you're cruising, don't forget to turn your card back in. Don't leave them laying around. Number 200 in Alger County is where we're going to go back to now. No road access at all is what it says. 20 acres. This is wetlands. It's a frog farm, a cattail ranch. This is going to be rare property one of these days. I heard a guy on TV tell me he was going to drain all the swamps. You better buy them while you can. I got $650 bid on that one online. Anybody in the room want to give me $700? Where's my swamp buyers? No frog farmers in the room. I got $650 bid online. Going once. Somebody's got an amphibious helicopter. Going twice. Oh, there's two of them. $700, $750. We'll let them run with it here for just a minute. This might take longer than that last sale did. That's how these work. We'll let you back in if you want back in when they're done. Shouldn't take a long time. We got another swamp coming up right after this one. We have 2 live bidders on this one, maybe 3. It's at $1,900 right now. Anybody in the room want to give me 2,000? 1,900 going once, twice. Sold that one online, $1,900. The backup bidder is also online. Number 201 is a 10-acre parcel. Has no road access. There is no power out here either. This one also is mostly marshlands. I've got $1,500 already bid online. Anybody in the room want to give me 16? Somebody owns the swamp next door. You can have a bigger swamp. I got $1,500 online. Anybody in the room at 16? 15 going once.
Yep.
There they go. That could be the end of it. I've got $1,600.
Yep.
They're not done. 2 online bidders. People that collect tax bills, because that's the most popular thing to do with swampland. $1,800 online. Anybody want to give me 19? 18 going once. 18 going twice. Sold that one online, $1,800. Look at all the empty chairs we've got already. Is anybody here to bid on 202? There is still time to enjoy this lot from a camp chair. You just want to move before any bad storms. Nobody here for that one. It's waterfront on Lake Superior. And boy, is it. Number 205. We sold one just like that right up the street from here not long ago, and I don't remember, but it seems to me like we got almost 10,000 bucks for it. I think that one's gone now. 205 is on 42.95 Lane, also known as North Round Lake Road. Nicely wooded property. It's, I'm going to say that's a little over 2 acres in size, might be approaching 3. I'm at $3,100 already been online for this one. Anybody want to give me 32? I've got 32 back there with the lady. 33 online. Nope, I don't have 33 online, not in advance anyway. I've got 32 with you. Anybody in the room at 3,300? 33 behind you. 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 4,000, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and now 5,000 in front. 51 in the back row. He said he's done. I've got the lady at 5,000. Anybody in the room at 5,100? 5,000 going once, twice. It's yours. 5,000, number 228. In the back row, what's that backup bidder number? 244. Number 206 is the next one on the list. This is next to the property at N 895 US 41. Shared private road. This one kind of sits back off US 41 on a private dirt road. I did talk to the neighbor to the east. I think he might be here today trying to buy that. There's stuff on this property that we have no title to. There's some, I think there's a tractor out there and vehicles and all kinds of stuff. The guy was rather reclusive, lived in it. I don't think that there may be a good septic system out here. It does have almost a brand new well though. But there's some scrap metal out here to deal with. I've got 5 bids online and several people here in the room. I'm at $2,100 already online. Who in the room wants to give me $2,200 for that piece? 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 3,000. 3,100, now 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 3,900, and now 4,000. 41, now 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. I've got 48 with you. Anybody in the room at $4,900? 48, 49, he's back, now 5,000 and 5,100. 51, 51 now 52, 5,300, 54, 55, 56, $5,700. He said, no way. 56 right here. 56 going once, twice, $5,600, 343. Backup bidder in the back of the room is 244. As soon as we sell them, we type them in. You can go right there and check out if you don't want to hang around. On the next page, number 209. Pretty decent house, needs to be cleaned up a little bit. There is some garbage in the garage and a few things scattered around the house a little bit. I don't know how much cleaning out they got done out there. I know that they were gonna try to do away with the worst of it. Minimum bid in that book says $3,500. I'm at $6,500 already. Who in the room wants to give me 66? 66 over here. Anybody in the room at 67? I see cards all over the place again. Let's play that card game one more time. If you'll give me $7,000 for that, put your card in the air and just keep it up there. 7,500, 8,000, 8,500, 9,000, 9,500, 10,000, 10 and a half, 11, 11 and a half, 12, 12 and a half, 13, 13 and a half, 14, 14 and a half, 15,000, 15,500, 16,000, 16. They both went down at the same time. Going to start at 16,000, 16 and a quarter, 16 and a half, 16,750, 17,000, 17 and a quarter, 17 and a half, 17,750. I've got 17,500 over here. Anybody in the room at 17,750? 17,500 going once, twice. That one's yours. 17,570. Backup bidder back there. What's your number? 169.